everybody, Kirsten here, and I have a book talk today. I'm going to be talking about Confess by Colleen Hoover. Now I'm going to try and show you this cover, and hopefully it doesn't glare at you too bad. So Confess by Colleen Hoover. This was one of my most anticipated releases of 2015, and I'm just going to say, it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't spectacular, it wasn't great, it wasn't Colleen Hoover good. It was just meh, okay. So earlier this year, she came out with a book called Never Never. It's going to be the first in a new adult series, and I read that, and she co-wrote it with Taryn Fisher. And I was hoping that because I hated it so much that it was just kind of like a lapse in judgment on her part, and that it was like mainly Taryn Fisher that made the book so bad. But after reading like Confess, I feel like she's just kind of not going for quality with her books. She's just trying to like bust books out because she knows like people will buy them. And it just kind of makes me sad. Like, it didn't seem like it had a lot of real thought to it. And the thing about Colleen Hoover books that I love is that they always have kind of like the same formula. They do. They all have the same formula. There's always a female and a male narration, except for in Hopeless. It's just a female narration. But like in Ugly Love and Maybe Someday, and now this book, there's dual narration from both the male and female protagonists, and it's just like the way it meshes and goes together. I absolutely love that formula that she has, and it always goes really well. And this book is okay. It's not like the best, but it's like not bad. It's just kind of like run-of-the-mill. Like, she just knew she had to come out with a book, so she wrote something real fast. I know I'm not gonna like everything my favorite authors write. Like, obviously that's not gonna happen. I love J.K. Rowling and I hate The Casual Vacancy. Meh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So, before I like talk about like all the reasons why I didn't like this book, because I feel like that's kind of like a bad thing to do, to focus on all the things that I didn't like, let's just talk about the book a little bit, and then we'll go to the reasons why I did like it, because that makes for a much better video to watch. So this book, Confess, it follows our two narrators. We have Auburn and Owen, and they are interconnected in like crazy ways. So Auburn, when you meet her in the prologue of this book, she's saying goodbye to her boyfriend. Like, he's dying. It's on his deathbed. They're 15. Like, how sad is that? It's super sad. And so she says goodbye, blah, blah, blah. He dies, apparently, because he was on his deathbed. So fast forward several years. 5 years. I'm going to say about 5 years now. And she's in Dallas. She moved to Dallas from Portland because that is where he is from and his family is from. And so she moves down to Dallas, and while she's walking home from the salon one day, which is where she works, she sees the help wanted sign because she was just thinking about how, oh man, I need extra money. And lo and behold, a help wanted sign shows up right in front of her. And in the window, there's a bunch of confessions around this help wanted sign. And while she's distracted by that, who opens the door but our young Owen? And he is a gallery owner and artist, and he's looking for help, so he hires her. And while he is walking her in the door, he asks her her full name, and she says her full name, and lo and behold, they have the same middle name. And then all of a sudden, he's like, I know this girl. Immediately, you're like, oh, okay, well, okay, now I know where he knows her from, because the way that she talks about it, it's just like, okay. She has no idea who he is, but he knows who she is, and it's kind of creepy because, like, you know, and you want him to tell her, and it's like, just tell her. It's like not that big of a deal. But he never tells her, and it's just kind of like, well, shit. There goes that part of the storyline. It was unnecessary. But anyways, he hires her. They hit it off really well, and so they like want to see each other, but obviously there are going to be forces out of their control that keep them apart. And there are certain parts of this book and the reason why they cannot be together that are completely heartbreaking. And it's so sad. And there's so much going on. And of course, they're both extremely misunderstood. All of these things happen to them, and horrible things happen to them when it shouldn't be happening, and you just like want to root for them. There's so much conflict. That's the one thing I didn't like about this book. There's so much conflict. There's just absolutely conflict coming from all like angles. Like, there's just constantly something coming at them, and I was like, just give these kids a break and let them be in love. They're fucking 20 and 21. Just let them have their young love. But of course that they can't, because there's always so many things flying at them. It's kind of crazy. And you know, there's a lot of twists in this book and a lot of turns, and I liked some of the twists. I didn't like some of the turns, but what are you gonna do? You're not gonna like everything you read, right? I'm kind of like hoping that at some point, Griffin Peterson, who wrote the Baby Someday soundtrack and wrote a song about Ugly Love, will also write a song about this, just so I can like listen to it every day and be like, maybe I'll read that book again someday, and maybe I'll like it, because it's exactly what I do every single time I listen to Griffin Peterson and his Colleen Hoover soundtracks. I end up rereading the books. So who knows, maybe I'll come back to this book at another time, now that I know that my expectations were too high for it, and maybe I'll enjoy it the second time around. Who knows? If you read this book by Colleen Hoover, tell me what you thought about it. Tell me if you were as disappointed as I am. Tell me if you loved it. Tell me why you loved it. Tell me if there's something that I missed that I should have loved about this book. Go ahead, comment below. Tell me what you think. Everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.